Right, so this is an unboxing, product review and installation video on the RCP HID headlamps. For your reference, this is the D1S6 model. In the box, you'll get your gloves to handle the lights. There's the little product brochure. Installation steps 1 to 5, quite self-explanatory, and then just some problem solution options here. If something doesn't work, then what you can do: lights on, do not turn on, and so forth. Here is a little thank you card. It's a pleasure. And there are the HID globes. Right, so it's quite hard to get that out. I'm just going to pull out the whole piece. Just be very careful. They're trying to get that out. There's the one. Right, so there is the HID glass Xenon, and then the driver at the bottom. Now, if you just have a look at it, there you can see it, and this is going to fit into my car, which happens to be a BMW. So I will show you how to install this into a BMW, which happens to be a 7 Series E65. Okay, so I'm going to be installing it on this car, and I'm going to now zoom in. Right, so this is the air filter, which is mostly in the way, although you can install this without taking the air filter out. It's not a big job to take out the air filter. This is an E65 BMW, so it's quite a packed engine. There is the place where the HID globe would go into. There's a lever here, and just push that down. You can see I've opened it now. Alright, I've just pulled this cover off just to make a bit of space. So there it comes out, and you can see how it just kind of pressed in there. I'm not seeing the globe itself, but there's the ballast. You can see the ballast at the back there, and I can grab onto that ballast and actually twist it to pull out the old globe and then be able to put in the new one. Keeping in mind there is a little connector on the side which needs to be unplugged. Now you must make sure your car is off and everything is your lights are off as well. Alright, so there you can see I've twisted it. Now it's ready to come out. Now in my case it's really snug there and my hand is quite big. I'm just going to quickly remove this air filter. It's really a small job, so it's just a bracket here and then 2 screws here, and this whole filter can come out, giving me quite a bit more space. Okay, so I've made a lot more room here, so now I can unplug it and then unhook it. Okay, first thing is to remove the plug here. You can see I just pressed down, I depressed that and pulled that out. So now this is free of the ballast, so it is no longer connected. Now I just need to get the globe with the ballast out. Okay, so this is the fitting on the BMW. So this is kind of an intermediary clip, and you can see how it goes around there. Alright, just giving you a look inside here, you can see that is the holding side. So the globe is going to go through that hole, and that little ring clip is going to go around the side, and you can see there are specific notches and grooves, so we've got to line that all up afterwards. Now it's at this point where you want to use their gloves. You don't want to put oil on that globe, on the glass. You can also use examination gloves. Alright, so when installing this, and this happens to be on a BMW, just notice there's a notch there. So if you don't get it in that notch, you ain't going to be able to close this. You see, that notch has got to go in there. So you kind of got to line that up. And then you can close this, and it'll fix onto the light fitting on the inside there. So if you have a look, just you open that up, and you can see how that has to slot in there, otherwise it ain't going to work. So here I'll put the new globe in, and notice the notch lining up, so you can see the angle here on this happens to be on the right hand side. Okay, so I've slotted it in there, as you can see, and now these 4 little hooks I'm going to rotate and put them into place. On the inside there are some grooves which I'm going to line up and then twist. Okay, as you can see, and I'm going to turn it. Right, and it made a definitive click. Now keep in mind, I'm not turning the body, I'm turning that ring clip is what I was holding and turning. Now it's time to plug in. You could plug it in while it was still in your hand. I find it's easier to plug in after the fact while it's already installed, and just be careful not to push too hard. If it's not fitting, don't do it. There it goes. Fine. Right, and just do a wiggle test, check. It's fine. Okay, in this car, to close the cover, I just press that down. I've got to come at quite an angle, and then I just depress that, make sure it's lined up. And what you're trying to do is make sure the seal is overlapping in all places, because what a lot of people do is they think they've closed it, but it's actually sitting outside of the clip or the spacing here, and I can feel all around that it is actually overlapped. This is correct. On the other side, I'm going to follow the same procedure. I'm going to unplug that power cable there. Alright, just note there's a little pressure sensitive clip on the side. I just depressed it in and then pulled it out. So that's done. Now I'm going to grab the ballast and the ring. So mostly I'm going to focus on that ring clip and twist anti-clockwise, and then feed the light horizontally out. There we go. There we go. You can see came out. Now I'm going to put this ring clip on the new globe and ballast. Just inspecting that, look at that, and I've noticed there's been a problem with this side. It's been changing color, and I'll also comment on that on the photos a little bit later. Just aligning those raised and depressed seats. Now just having a look at this one is actually broken. So unfortunately the last person who changed this this is actually snapped off, so I'm gonna have to glue this shut. Okay, so this is panel beaters tape. It can deal with a bit of temperature. And if you want to, you could put a tiny bit of glue just so that it doesn't come off again. Alright, so now this is ready to be inserted in and then twisted. You can now take off this cover, keeping in mind, do not touch that glass part at all. Okay, so that's in the entry position. It's entering into the housing, but keep in mind you've got to now twist it clockwise, holding onto the ring. Right, it is now twisted clockwise, it's seated correctly. I just have to plug in the power cable. Okay, there we go. Power cable is plugged in. I just do a wiggle test. It is fine. Alright, so if you're feeling confident, you can put the cover back on, but I would suggest you test it first. But I'll just show you how to put this cover back on. Now just note, as I was saying, look at that seal all the way around. It's very important that you put this back correctly. Alright, you see the two clips at the bottom. It's a little bit it's got a little bit of back pressure. So you see that's got a rubber seal, almost airtight, watertight definitely. So that's why you got to press and push that up, and now it's done. Okay, so there are the lights now that it's been finished. Here's a drive test. The camera is recording a little bit darker than it was in real life, so imagine it about 30% brighter than it is. What I'm trying to show you is that the lights are pretty, let's say,
cold, like the lighting is a cold lighting. It's almost edging towards green rather than yellow. Definitely no yellow. If someone had to see you coming in traffic, they would never think your lights are yellow. And I'm specifically going to show you a car coming towards me, and you can see how the regular, more orangey yellow light versus this HID more on the colder side. It's almost leaning towards a bit of a green light, and I'll show you some more pictures, but here you go. You're going to see a car coming now. Alright, so here this is a video of the light. You can see they are showing very white, but I'd say it's a little bit more on the greener side if I shine it on a white wall. Okay, so there's some photos. That's if I dim the camera. You can see a slight green tinge. Okay, these are the old ones, keeping in mind they're 12 years old. The one on the left-hand side, if you're facing the car, would start to flicker. You can see it's starting to go a little bit yellow. Now you can see these are nowhere near as white as the ones I've just put in. So you can see the one on the left, slightly different color to the one on the right. And here, looking in the day there as well, you can see the one on the right's closer to a white light, whereas the one on the left's a little bit warmer. Okay, so overall I'm pretty happy. The brightness is fine. I went for a drive. It was as good as the Osram, possibly a little bit better. I'd have to use it for a few weeks and then come back and do a follow-up review. But so far, installation was easy. Quality seems good. The coloring, they are matched. Got no problems, no flickering. My Osram started flickering, but I think that is the degradation. That globe is on its way out, keeping in mind 12 years. Alright, so I hope this video is helpful, and thanks for watching. Cheers.